What is up, Light Fam? Welcome to another video. My name is David, your spiritual awakening coach, here to help you through your spiritual awakening. I get a lot of questions from you guys regarding the dark night of the soul. The main question is, how long is this crap supposed to last? Right? You might be feeling depressed or frustrated in this state of stagnation on your spiritual journey with a bunch of anxiety, worry, and fear. And you want to know, how the heck can we get out of this and get on to that new identity that is trying to emerge? So this video is going to be the dark night of the soul stages. There's certain stages of the dark night of the soul, which will give you an idea of where you are currently, as well as what you need to do to get to the next stage. Now, I will say this, how long does the dark night of the soul last? Well, that is completely dependent on your level of resistance versus surrender. What level of resistance versus surrender are you emitting in your frequency? Are you resisting the dark night of the soul? Are you resisting that identity change, the old identity before you had a spiritual awakening, which was in alignment with fear? Are you resisting that new identity that's trying to be birthed into your current timeline, which is in alignment with freedom, purpose, love, etc.? So, are you healing the trauma that is keeping the vibration of that old identity alive in your current timeline? So a lot of this depends on whether or not you're doing the work to step into that new identity. But if we can talk about the dark night of the soul stages, you'll know at least where you are and what you need to do to get to that next stage so that you can step into that new identity of your greatest version and living your life purpose. So let's talk about dark night of the soul stages right now. Let's go. Dark night of the soul stages, stage 1. This is known as the disassociation stage. So you've had that spiritual awakening, and that spiritual awakening lets in the light into your life, and that light shines onto everything that is in alignment with fear, ego, that which is rigid, that which is dense, that which is stagnant begins to no longer resonate with you, and it begins to fall away. Most likely these are things that you have clinged on to and identified as your entire life. And when that foundation falls away, you can be filled with a lot of anxiety and frustration and worry and fear, because that old identity falls away, but your new identity is still in the dark. You don't have the perception of what the new identity is. You haven't found your personal truth yet. This is why it's the dark night of the soul, that identity limbo stage before you find your truth. And so the disassociation stage is where you feel disconnected from your current vocation. Hey, am I doing this job because it's my passion, it fills my heart with joy, or am I doing it because I believe I need it to survive? Or you feel disassociated with friends, romantic relationships, even family a lot of times if your family is still asleep and you have no support system. So you feel disconnected with your current life, but you're not quite sure what that new life and identity is yet. So dark night of the soul stage 1 is the disassociation phase. The dark night of the soul stages, stage 2. So this is what's known as the self-discovery stage, or the self-isolation stage, also called the hermit stage. So those old fear-based limited paradigms and structures that you once clinged on to as your identity begin to fall away, they no longer resonate. But now you need to find what resonates with you, what's true in your heart. This becomes your personal truth. And so this is the stage of self-discovery, where you do some introspection. You ask questions about the nature of the universe. You go down rabbit holes, and then you find what is true for you. Not what resonates up here, but what resonates in here. This becomes your personal truth. And then you move forward in the world with that personal truth. And then you gain what's known as Gnosis. Gnosis is knowledge through experience. You have the knowledge of it because you have experienced that truth to be true. This is completely different from the act of accepting what someone else says is truth mindlessly without asking any questions. And of course, that act gets mislabeled as faith. No, you move forward with your personal truth, and this personal truth now becomes a part of your new higher consciousness identity, which is out of alignment with fear and in alignment with freedom, love, purpose. So now that new identity begins to lay down roots in your current timeline. Dark Night of the Soul stages, stage 3. This is what's known as the purification stage, or what I like to call the healing stage. Why the healing stage? Because you are healing the repressed trauma that keeps the old identity alive in your current timeline. Trauma is in alignment with fear in one way or the other. And remember that old identity before you had a spiritual awakening was very much in line, if not 100% in line, with ego. Fear is the ego's main tool of choice to either spur you into action to defend yourself or flee you out of a situation to save your life. But a spiritual awakening is waking up from seeing life through the lens of the ego, identifying the way the ego wants you to identify, seeing life through the lens of scarcity, competition, lack, and fear. But a spiritual awakening is at least being one step removed from the ego. You step back in what we like to call the observer mind, and you observe the ego and its agenda, and you can ask the question, is this in alignment with fear, or is this in alignment with love? And now you start to purify your frequency by healing the fear, facing the fear. When we say heal, we mean applying the higher vibration of love to the lower, denser vibration of trauma and raising the vibration of that trauma so that it can be integrated into your more higher dominant frequency. So this is the purification stage. We're purifying what is dense, rigid, and in alignment with fear. Dark Night of the Soul stages, stage 4. This is what I like to call the life purpose discovery stage. So your perception of your life purpose before having a spiritual awakening may be sharply different than your perception of your life purpose after having had a spiritual awakening. So before a spiritual awakening, maybe you thought your life purpose was to, get all these cute titles in life and acquire a bunch of things. But now, for some reason, I don't know why, that no longer resonates. And now you may feel more of a vocation that is more heart-centered, more in service to others. So now you have this call to serve or to help people wake up, help people find their power. So this life purpose discovery stage is where you now have this new life purpose that actually is the passion in your heart. And I want to make a disclaimer. Your life purpose doesn't have to be this, epic thing where you're changing the lives of millions of people. It could be just you fearlessly living your authentic truth, and then being an example to everyone around you, which inspires everyone around you, one person at a time. And that has a domino effect of helping people find their power. So, don't always think that you need to be, changing the world and all of that. You just be your authentic truth, express that fearlessly, and you may be an example to everyone around you. In fact, I know you'll be an example. So stage 4 of the Dark Night of the Soul is the life purpose discovery stage. You've got a new life purpose. You've kind of discovered it, but you haven't started doing it yet. And of course, that leads us to stage 5. Dark Night of the Soul stages, stage 5. Well, as I hinted to in the last stage, stage 5 is you actually living your life purpose. Or maybe you are doing your life purpose as your actual vocation. So you've officially made your vocation your life purpose. So stage 4 was discovering that life purpose. Stage 5 is living that life purpose, fearlessly expressing that authentic truth. Remember, be your authentic self and the world will adjust. So you are living that way, and there's nothing in your life that is out of alignment with your authentic truth and living your life purpose. Dark Night of the Soul stages. So those 5 stages all have to do with birthing that new identity and bringing that new identity out of the dark and into the light. So it's about letting that old identity in alignment with duality, fear, all of that dissipate, and then finding your personal truth, finding what resonates with you, healing the trauma that keeps that old identity alive in your current timeline, and then discovering that life purpose, which is oftentimes feeling the need to be in service to others, and then living that life purpose. So these are the Dark Night of the Soul stages. And notice I said the Dark Night of the Soul is a process. It's not a one-time event, because as you go on your spiritual journey, there's always going to be things that are out of alignment with love, which is the dominant frequency of Source. So the first Dark Night of the Soul is usually the worst, but then there's going to be little mini ones just to kind of tweak your frequency to get you more in alignment with Source. So, but just remember, it's all a part of the process. And you chose to go through these things as well so that you can live your life purpose and be as much in alignment with Source as you can in this particular lifetime. Now it's time for quote of the day. We're doing something a little different today. Quote of the day. And now it's time for question of the day. What Dark Night of the Soul stage are you in? And what do you need to do to get to the next stage? Let us know in the comments below, Light Fam. I will see all of my beautiful Light Fam in the next video. Light, love, and abundance to all that are watching and to all you love. Peace, guys.